What is up, everybody? My name is Dane Thompson. Welcome back to another episode of Burndown. So in today's episode, we are still playing with the Twinnebago. If you watch the videos, we messed with the fuel tank, and then we took her out for a little fun, had a few issues, and here we are. So what we're gonna do today, though, we're not gonna mess with the issues that I had when we were out in Mexico, which would be the power steering. I don't know if it was puking or overheating. I'm gonna say it was overheating, and we'll probably have to add a cooler. But first things first, we got back and I pulled the fuel tank out. So if you've been following along, you know what this is. If not, this is out of a Chevy Avalanche. It's not very deep and it's very long, obviously. And then I used the old mount, and then we strapped the front of it, and we had this tucked up underneath. This is the fuel fill. It is very small and it's on the front, and then if you can see, this is a bit higher, so this whole thing sat in the front of where this fills, and there wasn't a lot of fall, and then it came down and went into the tank. So I could never get this thing past 3/4 of a tank. I believe we had a little bit of fuel slosh problem, I guess. I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me on that part, because I do have a stumble in this thing. But ultimately, filling it up was a pain, and not having the fuel sending unit work properly was also a pain. So what we did is we pulled this thing out. I'm gonna rob the pump out of it. I called my guys over at War Performance, so they did not have any fuel pumps in stock, so he'll contact me when they get one in stock. So what we will do in the meantime is there's a fuel pump in there that works perfectly fine. So we'll pull the fuel pump out of here. We can get everything all mocked up and done. We'll see how far we go. I got some fittings. We'll have to drill the fuel head out. So we're just gonna do stuff like that today, see if we can get all kind of put together. And then on the baffling portion of it, I'm not gonna do anything, because initially I was gonna like weld a little piece and kind of stick it in there, and I didn't want to put fuel in there to eat all the varnish, because I'm like, if I have to weld or do anything, I don't want to blow myself up. Well, I went down to G&J Aircraft, got some pieces and parts this morning, and they informed me of a genius idea, which I'll probably end up doing in my fuel cell as well, and in the dirt car fuel cell we're going to get to at some point, is wiffle balls. So if you get these single piece wiffle balls with the holes in them, you can get them in different sizes, like golf balls, baseballs, and so on. You just load the tank up with those and it baffles it, and you're good. E85, nothing harms it, doesn't hurt it. You can take them in and out if you need to clean or do whatever you got to do. But it's cheap, inexpensive, genius idea. So I'm not going to baffle or do anything. If we have any fuel starve issues or slosh issues that I feel, we might pack it with wiffle balls. Hell, we might even pack it with wiffle balls anyway, just to be cool, like the cool kids and the off-road guys, and then we don't even have to worry about nothing. So when we get that far, we will do that. We'll test it out and I will show you guys. But if you were going to do it, get the single piece ones, not the glued together. If you get the glued together ones, apparently those fall apart, so, or at least from what I'm told. So maybe we'll have to experiment with that one of these days. Anyway, let's get on to it. I'll go grab the other tank, show you the parts we got, and then we'll get started on pump assembly and all that other stuff. So we'll pull it out of here and then put that thing together. And then the nice part too, like I said, I can put fuel in the other tank and we can get that thing to eat the varnish, and I don't have to be afraid, because we're not going to do any welding or anything today. But before we put any fuel in it, we'll make sure that we are good, that everything is good before we get that far. So let's grab the other tank and get started. All right, so here's the tank. If you notice, I had multiples of these because he made different size holes for feed, because I wasn't sure, I believe, on the Twinnebago what we were going to do with it. So these are pretty well identical, except these holes are smaller on this one, which is what we're going to run. And this is actually the pump holder that goes around there, and that'll hold the pump in the bottom of the tank. Also, this one actually has the threaded portion, so like on a fuel cell, like I said, I can reach my hand in there and put it in there. But on this guy, we opted to do the nut certs. So this is actually nut certs, so that's actually in place right now. And we've got the new sending unit. So that is that. And of course, as usual, I forgot to get fittings to block this stuff off. Although, I don't know, that looks pretty blocked off. I guess what we could do is probably take these off of here and just weld the ends shut, and then just leave that on there. So we'll see. I'm not terribly worried, because I don't know how far we're going to get. And then even if I had it installed, I could still just get plugs for that, not a big deal. So a couple 90 bulkheads, so it'll come out. here and here. And then we've got a barb fitting, and then this is that pain in the butt plastic hose that they use for the fuel pumps. And we will put this on, and then I only got a foot, but you figure, you know, the size of the pump and everything else, so I probably won't need this much anyway. But we've got it, so we are ready to rock and roll. We should be able to make the whole pump assembly and probably get it mounted in there today, I would imagine. So let's get on it. We'll pull this thing apart, get the pump out of there, get the show on the road. All right, so we've got this thing assembled. I gave Joey G the wrong sizing for the holes, so it's 9/16 to fit those through. But essentially we got that in, and this is the little pump hanger that will go on the all thread that will hold the pump in the bottom of here. Speaking of that, thank you to everybody that commented on how to get rid of this varnish. And I think the cheapest, easiest idea for me is going to be to, the thing's full of fuel, the 85 mix blend. We'll just take some of the fuel out of there and put it in here, and then let it sit and slosh around. I didn't do that, however, though, because I didn't know if I was going to weld a sump or kind of try to do something for baffling. But now that I know I'm not going to, we'll get the pump all situated, depth and all that, and then we'll pull some of that fuel out of there. At least, I don't know how many gallons, but I'd like to get a decent amount out. And then we'll put it in here, and then what I'll do is also let this thing set, and we'll put it at different angles, so that way the fuel sits up against like where the varnish is. Also too, maybe I could throw some nuts and bolts or something in there and kind of wash it all around. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you for that. And then somebody did mention magnets. I got a bunch of like rare earth magnets, so I think too, once we put the fuel in, the cool thing to do would be put the fuel in there and then have magnets stuck to the bottom, and then slosh all around, so any of the little metal shavings, I wiped out as much as I could, but they'll be floating and moving around the bottom, so we can kind of kill a couple birds with one stone. So that will be pretty slick, so we'll do that. But first, we got this thing done, we got to get the pump and get the measurement, and I want to get the whole canister, the whole enchilada to slide in. So we'll pull the pump out of here, and then I'll show you guys what this looks like in case you missed when we put it all together. But I cut the crap out of this basket, and I think that's part of the reason this thing works poorly. And it is what it is. So let me pull this out of here. All right, well, that gas gauge is way off, because this thing, man, is like, let's see. I guess that's about halfway full. So, I don't know. The gas gauge wasn't reading that this thing was like half full, I don't believe. So, maybe it was. Anyway, got a lot of fuel in there. And like I said, we can put that in the other tank. And then this is my regulator. I was regulating it at the tank. And then the other thing that's funny is, so this is the original mount. So that other tank comes up to almost the top of this guy. So this is gonna have to change in location, fuel lines, all that stuff. So that's kind of a pain in the butt. But that's it. Let me pull that pump off and then stick this hat assembly back on so we don't get too much crud in there. And then we'll suck some of this out and stick it in the other tank. And hopefully it'll help clean stuff out. But yeah, there's a lot of crud in that one too. All right, we got this thing out and apart. As you can see, we broached out the whole bottom of this thing. So this used to sit, and then the filter was up underneath the bottom. So this basket was pretty well worthless. But in a perfect world, the pump would actually sit in the basket, and then it would return the fuel in there. It would help with fuel slosh. So this is doing absolutely nothing for me because of the modifications we did. And then this is actually dirtier than this, but there's like a bunch of grit in there. So it looks like there's a coarse and then a finer mesh below it. I shot this thing with brake parts cleaner, and it looks like rat turd. So I think these are cheap enough. We'll just use this all for mock-up, and then before we finalize it, I'll go get one of these guys. But at least I have this for mock-up. I figure for the amount of money and headache that this stupid part can cause, we'll just go ahead and replace it. But for now, we'll keep it on here. It'll keep stuff out of here, hopefully, and then it gives me the correct depth and all that stuff. So that is it. This is the pump. This is Walbro. This is the Hellcat pump from my boys over at War Performance. If you need one, you're looking for one, I know that they placed an order and they have these coming. So hit them up, get a pump. They carry these, the 450s, and then the little guy, the 255s. So go talk to them if you need it, and then that's it. So let's get rolling. Let me put this on here. We'll strap the pump to this guy and then get the depth and everything set. Pump assembly is in there, and then I marked it, and we're gonna leave a little bit of length so we have some adjustment. And we'll measure that, and then what I'm gonna do is cut that off. But before we cut it, we'll thread nuts on the backside. So that's a good trick. So when you cut it, you can unthread the nuts and it'll clean out the threads, and you'll be able to thread things back on. So we will get a measurement on there and do that. And then you're probably wondering, hey, where are you gonna put the electrical through? Well, we'll have to make a hole, and then I'll get a grip. I didn't get a grip today, so we'll do that. But we'll get it all situated, and then I can figure out where I want the hole. We'll just punch a smaller hole to run the wires through for today. And then we'll get a grip at some point and finalize the thing. But I don't think we're gonna finish it up today, but I'd like to get everything kind of set and see how we go. All right, this fuel line plastic stuff, right? I'll give you guys a pro tip, a double pro tip actually. So first one is a heat gun. You want to use a heat gun, get this hot. You can smell when it gets hot, like if you're sitting above it, because it smells like plastic getting hot. And then you want to heat up obviously as much as you want to push onto the barbs. But here is the ultimate pro tip that the dude from G&J, Cliff, told me today, and I was like, man, that is awesome. So on the pump, it's plastic, and you don't want to be pushing it on and do one of these and snap it off. I've seen people snap the pump inlet or outlet off. So this actually will fit over some 3/8 tubing, you know, because obviously it's, you know, similar size. That's what it's for. Let's see if I can do it one-handed. Whoop! Look at that, Bob's your uncle. So what you do is you hang this off, get this real hot, and then you can grab the tubing and this, and the tubing will keep this straight. It gives it some structure, so when you're pushing this on, it's just a straight shot. Granted, that only helps for one side, so pick which side you want the assistance with. I like to do that on the pump. And then on the other side, it was that little AN fitting I can show you guys. I just screwed that in to a larger piece that had an AN that I could get a hold of. So we used the tubing trick, slid it on the pump, and then on this, I tightened this on this piece and I could hold it and then push that on. So this side was a little harder than this side, but you get the picture. We were all locked and loaded. I'm gonna put these on there for safety. I don't think this stuff comes off once you put it on, man, but might as well put it on there because I can't monitor this while it's in the tank. So we'll put this guy around here. Then the fuel delivery is good. We will double check fitment once again. I'll make my return. I'm just gonna make like a little straw that comes down, and then maybe we'll kind of kick it off to the side or something. We'll figure that out. Maybe we can kick it on like the pump body, I don't know. So let me get this done, and then we'll figure out what to do with the return. And then we will pick where the hole is gonna go for the power. All right, here she is, pretty well what it's gonna look like. I'd like to get a grip. I don't have one. I think we're just gonna throw some goop on that and call it a day. We got the gasket in. I made it out of some thicker rubber. It looks like it's all flush, so I'm thinking that's gonna work out nice. Then I just loop these two together because I don't have anything to plug them off. So that should be fine. If we ever need to, we can either use them or just cap those off. We got this dude hanging out. So next step, last step I think for today, is we're gonna get some fuel out of there, stick it in here, slosh it around, just kind of let it bake to marinate, get some of that varnish out. And then while that's working, maybe I can see if I have enough hardware and stuff to actually hang the saddle mount back up in the Bago, get that one off of that, and then I have the other one that goes on here as well. So maybe get that kind of situated, and then we'll actually have to bolt that on here and then lift it all up as a whole at some point. So yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. I think the fuel lines will go this way. I don't know how much room I have to the top, so maybe we'll have to kind of measure, but I think this is going to be cutting it close. I mean, I think we're going to be pretty well maxed out. I'm hoping that those clear. So that's it. Get some fuel out of here, fill it up as much as I can, slosh it around, throw some magnets in it, all that fun stuff, let it marinate, and then we'll start working on the mounting portion. All right, we are now playing gold miner. So this is the siphon end. So I'm sloshing it around and then vacuuming up what I can see with this guy through the hole, because I kept moving it around and I can see all these chunks of varnish. So we'll do this for a little while, see if we can get some of the big chunks out of there, and then hopefully it'll capture it in that filter, which is just a throwaway filter anyway. So game on. Let me keep messing with this real quick, and at least I feel like I'm doing something now. I've been at this for a while, and then took a break here and there. It's pretty hot today, but dude, this thing got the magic. Look at all of that stuff in there. So I don't know how good this is showing up on camera, but that is full of friends. So I sloshed it around a bunch. There's nothing major. This may come back to bite me, but we're gonna put it on camera now, so when I'm not even gonna jinx myself. But anyway, I'm feeling like I did my due diligence there, because like I said, I sloshed it around, I emptied some of the fuel out, we put more fuel in. It looks pretty good for my house. So I'm just gonna put this thing together. I'm gonna actually put a little silicone on it and stick the dude down, and then maybe we can kind of get this situated by the end of the day. It would be pretty cool. So let's do that. We'll see how we go, but I'm done playing Gold Miner for today. All right, I was plugging away a little bit. We got this dude on there. These aren't tight on this end. They're tight on that end because I think those are hard to get to. Once this is bolted down, you got a frame in the way. So these are tight. These, however, are not, just in case we got to move stuff. Shimmy it. I cut these pieces of rubber. We used to have some other stuff here, but it got roached out with age, so this will be just fine once we lock it down. And then I kind of slid it. It'll actually fit underneath there. I just got to tilt it, and then these will fit underneath, and this actually barely clears, which is really awesome because I thought I was going to have to jack it up. And then now it's just a matter of getting these bolts in here on the frame. And I think I've got 4. Yeah, I've got 4 of these. So at least I can do 2 and 2. If I can go, you know, these 2 and these 2, that'll hold the weight of this, considering there's nothing really in there. But I had to crawl underneath and remove my fuel filter. I'll probably pull all the stuff on that line. Yeah, I gotta move it. So, and then I'll pull this out of here, move it over, stuff off the neck. So let me crawl under here and gut all this stuff. But yeah, dude, this guy is exciting because this is gonna go to that and then right into the tank, and life is gonna be gravy train. And then I think we'll have to figure out how to vent this because there's no other vent. But yeah, so let me move all this stuff, clear the way, and maybe we can slide it under here and set it in place and just throw a couple loose bolts through and call that a victory for today. Moment of truth. Drum roll. It's either gonna fall off here or it's going to hover. Woo! All right, so this thing is back in place and it's a very tight fit. I've only got a couple bolts holding it in. Then obviously, you know, it'll straighten up when we tighten it down, but I want to show you guys. Look at this. Is a straight shot. Bam, fill it up. Life is gonna be good. So yeah, you can see we're pretty tight. I don't know if I'll be able to get connections. I may have to make really long fuel lines and then do the connection like over here so I can get to it. You know, you undo it and then just drop the whole tank so it all comes down as one unit. But I've got plenty of room for regulator, fuel filter, all that. I want to make it really easy and accessible in case we have issues with it. But yeah, this dude should this dude here should just go right back in. Ooh, look at that. You can see that thing. Straight shot, baby. Bam, just put a little piece of rubber. This thing is going to fill up so much better. Life is going to be so much nicer with this tank. So that is it. I have a complete mess. I hope you guys enjoyed. I am beat. I mean, it has been super hot, so I got to clean up. We'll have some dinner and then I'll get a plan of attack, but I feel good about that deal. So it is basically in there. We got to plumb it, wire it, and fire it. Actually, I got to pump all the crappy gas that was in there out. So there's still fuel in there. That's why I was struggling with the jack and everything, because it still has some fuel. So we'll just let it in there, let it settle, hopefully eat up the varnish, And then before I actually fire it when I make the new fuel line, we'll fire it with the key in the house battery. I'll leave the fuel line open, and we'll just pump all the crap fuel out. We'll put good fuel in, and then we will be rock and roll. So that is it. Thank you to everybody that left comments with the magnets and all the stuff. You guys are a big help. And that is it. You guys know what to do. Till next time, like, subscribe, share. I'm out.